This video is about multiplying polynomials. To multiply polynomials, we can use the distributive property and the rules of exponents in order to multiply. When multiplying two polynomials with two or more terms each, you can use what we call the box method, and I will show you how that works in some examples. And then you always want to combine like terms after multiplying. The previous video went over combining like terms, so if you need to, go back and watch that one. Let's look at a few examples. So in this first one, I have negative 5u to the fifth, parentheses, 2u cubed plus 5u squared minus 4u, close parentheses. So in this case, I have what we call a monomial, a single term polynomial. And when I have that, the only thing that I can do is just distribute that to each term inside the parentheses. So this would become negative 5u to the fifth times the first term, 2u cubed, plus negative 5u to the fifth times the second term, 5u squared, plus negative 5u to the fifth times negative 4u. So notice I'm incorporating the sign with each factor that I'm writing here. And I'm just writing a plus between all the terms. So now I use my rules of exponents. If I'm multiplying negative 5u to the fifth times 2u cubed, I multiply the coefficients, gives me a negative 10, and I add the exponents. So this would be u to the 8th power. The second one, I have negative 5u to the fifth times positive 5u squared. So multiplying negative 5 times 5 would give me minus 25. Add the exponents, 5 plus 2 gives me u to the 7th. And then here I have negative 5u to the fifth times negative 4u, multiply negative 5 times negative 4, and I have positive 20. Add the exponents, u to the fifth times u would give me u to the 6th power. I don't have any like terms to combine, and so I'm done. I've multiplied the monomial times the polynomial, and I've got my final answer. Now, on this next example, I have parentheses 2x minus 3, close parentheses, times parentheses 4x squared plus 6x plus 9, close parentheses. So I have a binomial, 2 terms, times a trinomial, 3 terms. So let me show you how to multiply using the box method. This is a nice method because it makes sure that you don't forget any of the terms that you need to multiply. So what I do is I make a rectangle, which we could call a box. I'm going to divide it into enough sections so that I can write one of the polynomials along the top side of the box and one of the polynomials along the left side of the box. So on the left side of the box, in the top row, I'm going to put 2x, and in the bottom row, I'll put minus 3. So I'm getting that from this first factor, 2x minus 3. Along the top of the box, in the first column, or on top of the first column, I'll put 4x squared. On top of the second column, I'll put plus 6x. And on top of the third column, I'll put plus 9. So now it's kind of like I'm finding the area of each piece of this box. So in the first little section, I have 2x times 4x squared. So using my rules of exponents, this would be 8x to the third power. So top row, second box, I have 2x times 6x. This would give me plus 12x squared, because x times x is x squared. And in the third box on the top row, I have 2x times 9. That would give me a plus 18x. Now I move down to the second row. I have 4x squared times negative 3. That would give me minus 12x squared. Second box on the second row is negative 3 times 6x, so that's negative 18x. And then I have, in the last box, I have negative 3 times positive 9 gives me minus 27. Now I have to combine my like terms. So what I can do is just look for my like terms. So I have negative 12x squared plus 12x squared. Those are like terms. And so when I combine them, I actually get 0x squared, because I have negative 12 plus 12. Now my other like terms, I have plus 18x minus 18x. When I combine those, 18 minus 18 gives me 0x. So in this case, combining my like terms actually canceled them out. So what I'm left with is just the 8x cubed minus 27. That would be my final answer. Now, if these squared terms and x terms had not zeroed out, those would be included in the final answer. But in this particular example, they canceled out. All right, let's do an example where we have two binomials multiplied together. When you're multiplying two binomials, you can use what we call the FOIL method. And the way that works is first you multiply the two first terms of each binomial, then the two outside terms, then the two inside terms, and then the two last terms. Let's look at this example of x plus 3 times x plus 4. So the first terms are x and x. The outside terms are the x and the 4. The inside terms are the 3 and the x, and the last terms are the 3 and the 4. So I go ahead and multiply x times x gives me x squared. X times 4 gives me 4x. 3 times x gives me 3x. And 3 times 4 gives me plus 12. So I end up, after I combine my like terms, the plus 4x and plus 3x, I end up with a final answer of x squared plus 7x plus 12. So let's try it with this example. We have 4 plus 9x times 2 minus 6x. So my first terms are the 4 and the 2. So I'm going to do 4 times 2. Those are my first terms. My outside terms are 4 and negative 6x. So I'll have 4 times negative 6x. Those are my outside terms. My inside terms are this plus 9x and the 2. So plus 9x times 2. There's the inside terms. And then the last terms are 9x and negative 6x. Those are the last terms. So I go ahead and multiply. So I'll get 8. 4 times negative 6 is minus 24x. 9 times 2 gives me plus 18x. And 9 times negative 6 gives me minus 54. And x times x here gives me x squared. Now I need to combine my like terms. And so I end up with 8. Negative 24 plus 18 would give me minus 6x. And then minus 54x squared. This would be my final answer. Now you could change the order if you wanted to, so that the negative 54x squared was in front. So you could change it to negative 54x squared minus 6x plus 8. That's perfectly valid if you wanted to change it. Now, if you wanted to use the box method for that, that would be perfectly fine too. You would set up a 2x2 box. Along the top, you would put your 4 plus 9x. And along the left side, you would put 2 and then minus 6x. So in the first upper left box, you'd get 8. Upper right box, you'd get your 18x. The lower left box, you'd end up with your negative 24x. And in the lower right box, 9 times 6 was negative 54. X times x gave us x squared. And when you combine your like terms, the 18x minus 24x, you'd end up with that negative 6. So whether you want to FOIL it or use the box method, the answer comes out equivalent. All right, the last thing to know when you're dealing with multiplication of polynomials is squaring a binomial means that you multiply it by itself. Squaring anything means that you multiply it by itself. So if you have 2x plus 1 quantity squared, that's the same as 2x plus 1 times 2x plus 1. Now you can choose your favorite method, FOIL or box method, and go ahead and solve it. So if I was using the box method, I would go ahead and make a 2x2 box. Along the top, I would have a 2x and a plus 1. On the left side, I'd have a 2x and a plus 1. In the upper left box, I have 2x times 2x, so 4x squared. In the upper right box, I have 2x times 1. That would give me a plus 2x. In the lower left box, I have a 2x times 1, so plus 2x again. And in the lower right box, I have 1 times 1. That would give me a plus 1. So now I look for like terms. My like terms here are 2x and 2x. So adding those together, that's going to give me a plus 4x. And so my final answer, after I've combined like terms, is going to be 4x squared plus 4x plus 1. That's the final answer after having combined like terms. And you can get to that using the FOIL method or, as I showed, the box method. So that's your introduction to multiplying polynomials. In the following few videos, we are going to look at factoring polynomials. And to check your answer when factoring, you multiply. So it's important to understand the multiplication process. You can always use the box method. And the thing to remember is combining your like terms in the end.